Hey everyone, welcome to the first 2021 episode of Yanks in Europe. We've got a ton on our plate today. We're going to go through a bunch of players and how they've been playing over the last couple of weeks, with how many games were coming really quickly during the new year. The United States men's national team has another camp going on from January 9th to the 24th. Also, we'll talk about the matches over the weekend that are coming up, and more importantly, we'll kind of give our little predictions for the year, whether it be how team players are going to play for their clubs and for the men's national team. But we'll kick it off with who seems to be possibly the best player at the moment for this for the United States, Weston McKennie.
Yeah, obviously he just came off winning his first Player of the Year for the national team, and right now I know it could be a hot take, but I think Weston McKennie could be the best team right now for the the best player on the team for the U.S. right now, and that's a lot to say. Obviously, there's Christian Pulisic. There's nothing against him. It comes down to obviously the injuries, the hamstring, but on top of that, it comes down to his club. Chelsea's just not performing right now. They've had probably almost a month of really, really bad
Four
soccer.
losses out of six in the league.
Exactly, and you look at that, and yeah, maybe Pulisic is, he's not playing to his best abilities, but he looks decent at times. But you can definitely tell when the rest of the team is not playing well, he kind of gets out of the game compared to Weston McKennie is thriving. He's playing the best soccer he's ever played in his career
Yeah,
right now over at Juventus, and he's playing with Cristiano Ronaldo and Alvaro Morata up top at strikers. Who those are two really good strikers up top, and McKennie has been playing excellent. He's worked his way into the starting lineup for Juventus now, which is incredible. Obviously, there's the whole thing with Juve being so impressed. They want to buy him outright because obviously he's on loan right now from Schalke, and they want to buy him outright as soon as possible because he's one of their guys of the future playing at
oh,
midfielder.
for sure.
So I definitely think Weston McKennie, if you're looking at right now, for the national team, he's definitely the best player. He's number one right now for the national team with the way he's playing.
Which is insane to think about. Just thinking where we were at, I don't know, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, in when the Premier League came back and Pulisic was on fire, and
Mm-hmm.
McKennie was playing for a team who hadn't won a game in 7 months. We'll get to that later with Schalke finally getting a win. But it's insane to think about that they've kind of flip-flopped a little bit. Pulisic has gotten, I think, 3 injuries since the FA Cup, like starting with the FA Cup
Yeah.
final. Can't
Mm-hmm.
seem to get form, and he's one of those who just needs to keep playing. He doesn't need that day off. He needs another
Yeah.
day, another game, and he'll catch his form. We know that. We've seen him do it several times in
Definitely.
his career, in his very short career already.
Mm-hmm.
But at the moment, yeah, you can't argue that McKinney's been insane, and it's
Yeah.
awesome to see, especially like it in the Italian league. This isn't something that we're used to seeing from American players. Michael Bradley played there for a while, but he's a holding midfielder, being the goal scorer and the assister that McKennie has been.
Yeah.
It's
Playmaker,
really cool to
basically.
see against teams, and they've got a big game this weekend against Inter that hopefully McKennie's going to be healthy for.
Yeah, obviously he got a little knock in their game over the weekend and got subbed off in the 18th minute, but it didn't seem like anything. Reports came out saying he won't be playing midweek, but he should be healthy for the big game against Inter for the weekend, which would be great. Obviously, he was the first American to score over at AC Milan, the first American to score. Um, where else? Over in Barcelona, I
Mhm.
believe. So it's just great to see him. He's so many firsts that Weston McKennie is doing right now, and he's just playing excellent soccer right now.
Exactly. But so let's take it to Weston McKennie's current club, actually. Matthew Hoppe, the 19-year-old American striker who has
Yeah,
never been to any kind of camp for the United States men's national team, not at the 17-year-old, not at the 15 squads, not at the 19s, has scored a hat trick in the Bundesliga in a 4-0 win over Hoffenheim. Schalke hadn't won a game in 358 days. And throttled Hoffenheim, and Hoppe had two lovely chips and spun around the keeper on his second goal.
yeah,
Also, the fastest hat trick in the Bundesliga this year. It took him 21 minutes to get all 3 goals. What do you
hmm
think of his performance?
yeah. I thought he played excellent, and honestly, he could have had about 4 or 5 if there would have been some more balls played to him. He was making great runs all game.
Hmm.
Whether Hoffenheim was playing a high back line, and to his credit, he was making great diagonal runs, which is the best way as a forward to make a run, stay on sides, don't, run in a straight line. You're going to be offsides all the time. So he was just making great diagonal runs and putting himself in position, and he was scoring. Literally every shot he had was a goal. 3 shots, 3 goals. I mean, you can't ask any more from your starting striker. The first American ever to have a hat trick in the Bundesliga. So I mean, and that's saying something. I mean, we've had Gio Reyna obviously is a star in the Bundesliga right now. Christian Pulisic was in the Bundesliga 2 years ago. Neither of them did it. They've scored in there. They've never had a hat trick. And for pretty much an unknown to most American soccer fans, and a lot of people, 90% of American soccer fans are like, "Who's Matthew Hoppe?" They've never heard of him. Um, he's a kid from New York. I mean, he played in the developmental academy. That's probably the closest thing he's gotten to playing for the national team. Developmental academy is pretty much just it's the top level of club soccer that they play throughout the country, to where if Atlanta United has a youth academy team or something, like that's developmental academy. So pretty much he played in something like that. But like you said, he never played on the U17 team. He never played United. I mean, he's never played for the national team. And this hat trick is definitely putting his name on the map. Obviously, at striker, to where we do not have a sure number one striker right now, he just put himself right into the mix to where he can be that he's going to get a call for one of the coming up camps this year.
Exactly. And it kind of just throws Berhalter in another circle, looking at how many strikers and forwards we've got, and it's like, crap, what do I do? Can't play them all. We're lucky that we have a bunch of matchups, I guess, with COVID postponing a couple tournaments. That 2021 is filled with different tournaments. So that'll give us a chance to see all of them in action, to know that when the 2022 World Cup comes around, we're putting the right squad out there. But to take it continue on in the Bundesliga, we've got a lot of players playing over there. Adams is getting game time whenever he's healthy. They've been on a little bit of a funny stretch. Leipzig, they'll beat Bayern, and then they'll draw anybody else. So it kind of just for a club like that, they get up for the big games, and sometimes they don't show up for those mid-table matches, which kind of sees them jump from second to fifth to sixth all the way back up kind of often.
Mhm.
But we'll go with your guy Brooks. He's been just still killing it. They did lose a game, however, they're not undefeated anymore. But definitely the best defense outside of maybe Bayern in the league.
Yeah, definitely. Wolfsburg's been playing an excellent season this year. Their defense has been excellent. John Brooks is obviously a big part of that offense. I know he was injured probably a month ago. It's where he missed a game or two. He's back now, healthy. He's in that starting lineup for Wolves right now, and he's like I said. I mean, he's had injury problems in the past, but the past 2 years he's been solid. He's been healthy for the squad, and he's definitely that number one center back right now for the United States, and it's going to be so interesting. It's going to be fun to watch to see who steps up and it becomes that second guy next to him for the pairing in the World Cup.
Yeah, there's a lot of names out there, but I don't think anybody is even came close to cementing their spot the way he has. He's
No,
definitely there, and it's kind of just out of the five or six guys that are in the line, who can fit with him best. And I think it might not even be the best center back that goes with him. It'll be the best you know
best pairing.
pairing, because
Yeah,
we're
who
not
who
really
works
sure
the
yet.
best with them? Yeah,
They're gonna try different lineups with Brooks in there and see just what works the best. And it might not be what you want, but I think we've got plenty of defenders, and our defense is going to be spot on come this tournament.
yeah,
Yeah. Also, just to close out Bundesliga, Gio Reyna is continuing doing what he's doing. He doesn't start every game, which kind of lets me down a little bit. What do you think? Jadon Sancho hasn't been up to any type of form this year. Finally scored over the weekend, so I think they're just kind of giving Sancho more playing time just because of the name.
yeah. Sancho and Royce, both of them have been out of form this year. Obviously, Holland just came back off an injury, so now you got Holland back in the lineup. I think what they're realizing is in Gio, he doesn't have to play every game. He's gonna be there. He's gonna play as good as he can every single game. If he misses a game or two, he's not going to be out of form. I think they're realizing that with him compared to Sancho and Royce. They probably need the playing time more than Gio Reyna, which is crazy because those are two big names right now in
Yeah.
international soccer, but they just have not been playing well. So I think that's good to boost their confidence. For him to get a goal, maybe we can see his season turn around to where he's playing better. Him and Marco Royce.
Yeah, true. So taking it out of the Bundesliga, really quick with Serginho Dest's performance for Barcelona. Barcelona has been climbing up the table lately. How many wins in a row is it? I believe it's six,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just the mainstay right now as the
Game
wing
in and game
back.
out. Yeah, he starts every game right now, and you could arguably say he's the second best player right now for the national team behind Weston McKennie.
Mhm. Can we throw
You
his
look
name in there for the best player,
I
or
mean,
is just not
you
enough
could. I
love
mean,
for
he
defense?
at the end of the day, he's the starting right back for Barcelona, who is arguably the biggest club in the world.
Mhm.
When you think of club soccer, people think of Barcelona. Like that's that number one squad. You're going to think of Barcelona, then maybe Real Madrid, Manchester United, but Barcelona is always going to be at the top of the list. And the fact that he's 20 years old, starting at right back for Barcelona right now, I mean, he could be there for the next 10 years. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, he's they said he was the right back of the future. It's no longer the future. He's the right back of the present. Like
Yep.
it's now. Like this is his time. And obviously he had a breakout year this past year, but I mean, just expect him to get better. I mean, especially with him playing a game in, game out with Barcelona, the quality of play over there on that squad, it's just going to make him so much better when he translates to the national team.
Exactly, exactly. So more time that we're going to spend in the Premier League than I thought we would if you were asking me back in September with how many players we thought would be getting playing time. We knew Pulisic would be playing a lot for Chelsea, and
Hmm.
that either Ream or Robinson was going to get a good feel over at Fulham. But now, Zach Steffen's getting playing time. Robinson is obviously still killing it. Ream finally got some more match time over the weekend with the FA Cup. He hadn't been playing that much in the Premier League, and
Yeah.
DeAndre Yedlin is back.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yellen has really not played at all this whole year, and probably within the last 2 to 3 weeks, he finally has gotten some playing time, and he's put out some excellent performances for Newcastle United. When you look at him, I mean, he was pretty much out of the picture when you look at fullbacks right now, especially in the right back position. You could arguably say he's number 4 on the depth chart at right back
Mhm.
right now. I mean, you got Dest, you got Cannon, obviously Brian Reynolds, who's on the up and coming. He's about to go overseas, and Yedlin. So Yevlin's like, he's 27. He's the oldest of the bunch. He's not old by any stretch of the imagination, but he just wasn't playing. So we would love to see him keep playing for Newcastle. If that's not going to be a thing, definitely he would want the transfer, get a transfer to go get some playing time so he can get his name back in the national team discussion right now.
Exactly, and Trezponspor was one of the clubs that have shown interest, and I kind of have a feeling that this form that he's been getting and like the 3 or 4 starts he's had over the last couple of weeks has to do with him getting a good deal for Newcastle rather than them just like shipping him off, and he might not be in any part of Newcastle's future plans or anything like that. These starts may be purely so that they get more money for him on the transfer market.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I can definitely see that too. To let him play, show what he can do, and then potentially get a better offer for him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is business, and they got to do what they got to do. If it's not working out over there, I hope it works out somewhere else. And if he finds the right team, it'll be great, and he'll get. If he gets transferred, he's going to be a starter. I think just knowing the kind of talent that we do know he has, and we've seen him show in several matches for Newcastle and for the United States team, so it'll be great for him.
Yeah.
But to kind of take it into our next little segment here, we've got another United States men's national team camp going on. There's a rumored match that could be going on in the United States towards the end of January. A couple teams have been like quietly announced. I think maybe it could be Costa Rica. Who really knows? But I think the targeted date was January 31st. So
Hmm.
we've got a camp going on January 9th to January 24th. 2 weeks where players are just getting to know each other, starting to gel, playing a bunch of practice matches. I think it's great for the club. If you want to kind of break down what the roster's looking like, it's a different looking roster, right?
Yeah, so the senior team, it's only a 12-man roster, and majority of these names are going to be well-known names. People are going to know who they are. Um, for goalkeepers, we got Sean Johnson from New York City FC, and the other keeper Matt Turner, who he's had no caps for the national team. So if there is a game, potentially Matt Turner might potentially get his first cap for the national team at
Love
goalkeeper.
debut caps, man.
Yeah. We got Aaron Long and Walker Zimmerman. Those two have been in the national team before. In the midfield, you got Kellen Acosta, Sebastian Leggett, and then Christian Roldan. Like again, those are three names that people have heard of. They've been in the national team for the
Mhm.
last 3 to 4
If you're
years.
watching MLS, you know these guys.
Yep, and the four forwards, you can say everybody knows. We got Josie Altidore. Obviously, he's out of all active players for the national team, he's the highest goal scorer right now. The most caps on this team of 12 by far, with 115 caps right
Mhm.
now. Paul Ariola's back, obviously just coming off an injury. Jordan Morris finally is back into the lineup. He obviously was not there for the match in December because of the MLS playoffs, so it's good to see Jordan Morris back now. And then Chris Mueller, off of a great performance in the December camp, uh, he's called back into the national team again for the
Yeah,
season two.
well deserved call up. And
Yeah,
so along with this 12-man roster, they released a 26-man U23 roster.
yeah,
And just from what we've been reading and all the whispers that are going around is that this 12-man national team roster will turn into a 23, and they'll take 10 or 11 guys from this U23 list. And just don't want to spend too much time on all of the names that are on there, because there's a lot of guys who we're not going to see anytime soon besides this camp, just because of the situation of it. David Ochoa, the goalkeeper, young guy. I think he's the goalkeeper of the future, being that we don't really have our eyes on one at the moment who's young and ready to go. Zach Steffen's what, 25, 26.
hmm,
Sean Johnson is roughly the same age. We don't have that 18, 19-year-old that people have their eyes on. I think Ochoa can be that guy.
yeah,
Julian Araujo, we got Robinson, we've got Reynolds, and we've got Vines, all in defense. All great
hmm,
names. All I expect to be playing in Europe in the next 2 to 3 years. Araujo actually just this week has grown interest from Tottenham Hotspur, so
yep,
could have another American playing over in London, joining Pulisic and Robinson and Ream. That'd
yeah,
be pretty sweet to get in that London rivalry. Also Tessman and Yovel in the midfield, and your boy Daryl DK up front. DK's getting
yeah.
on this squad for the game late January, you think, right?
Yeah, 100%. Especially with him having to getting hurt in the last camp to where he wasn't able to get any playing time. You can definitely expect them to get him on that senior team to where he's there with Josie Altidore, because Josie's the only striker right now on the 12-man roster. So Daryl DK would be that second guy. You could potentially see them starting next to each other, or DK getting subbed in for Josie Altidore.
Yeah, I totally agree. So just a couple names who aren't on the list. Two of them that you may have been expecting if you were just not really reading into it. Michael Bradley has decided to stay in Toronto. They're having a management change where they're welcoming their new manager, and as captain of Toronto FC, he wants to be there, show them around, and be there just to lead
Hmm.
lead the charge. And also Zardes did catch an injury. The champion Zardes, who I was kind of hoping to see on this list. That was a bit upsetting. Are
Yeah.
there any names that you expected to be here that you don't? I would have liked to see Ricardo Pepi. He's grown
Hmm.
some interest from Juventus. I think this would have been a really cool spot for him to kind of get situated with the USMNT. I know he's a dual citizen,
Yeah.
not dual citizen, but he can play for a couple other countries, and it would have been nice to see him get the nod, especially with scoring in the MLS playoffs and kind of already making him a name for himself. To not get here was a little upsetting for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I could say Caden Clark could be another guy, a young
Yeah.
guy for New York Red Bulls who's been playing really well, who he was also left off the roster in late December, and people were questioning it. But, at the end of the day, he's 17 still. He still has time to where he can be on the youth roster and then potentially get called up to one of these national teams throughout 2021 with all the games happening.
Yeah, for sure. And then you've got names like Paxton Pamichael, James Sands, who are both very young. And Sands, can play anywhere from center defensive mid to center back. And Pamichael's a good midfielder that they both caught injuries during the regular season in the MLS, and we didn't really know when they might be good. I guess they're not quite up to play in a camp, because those are names that I think deserve to be in this list of the U23s. It'll be awesome though to congratulate some players in a couple of weeks that end up moving up to the list of 12 and getting ready for the game in late January. I know I'm really excited for it. I love gearing up for any kind of friendly with how
Definitely. Oh yeah.
COVID-19 has been, and not having any. We haven't played a competitive match in almost 2 years now. So I'm ready for anything, man. Um, But let's throw it over to our 2021 predictions. I'll let you kick it off with who is going to be the top goal scorer for the United States men's national team in the top 5 leagues in Europe.
In top 5 leagues in Europe. So obviously the go to guy everybody would say would be Pulisic right now. So we got Pulisic, McKinney could be in that conversation. Geo. If I had to pick one, I'm gonna go with Pulisic. Even though with how he is playing right now, I still think that he will find his form. Chelsea's gonna find their form. They're gonna get out of their little slump that they're having right now, and especially with the quality of talent that they got up front around Pulisic, it's just gonna make his life a lot easier when it
Yeah.
comes to goal scoring. He does have one goal this I guess calendar year for the Premier League. So if you're counting from the beginning of the season, he does have a goal for in Premier League right now. I mean, you got Matthew Hoppe who has 3 right now.
He's got
McKinney
three
probably
already. That's what
has.
I'm saying. Like, do we have?
Yeah,
Can we throw
it,
his name in there? I mean, he's
yeah.
got.
I mean, you could. Yeah, I
He's
mean,
winning right now.
and I would expect him to continue starting for Schalke
Oh yeah,
also.
he's gonna
So
start the rest of the year.
there's a great chance that he could be up in that conversation. Definitely McKinney's going to be in that conversation. Gio's in the conversation. Um, you potentially see Tim Weah if he keeps getting more
Mhm.
playing time over in Lille. Tim Weah could be in that. So I mean, it's a great conversation to be in. But I'm going to go Pulisic, and then if we're looking for assists, Gio. I think Gio's my guy for the assist right now.
Gotcha. I think just because of minutes played and positions that they're playing, I'm gonna go Hoppe, honestly. I'm
Hmm.
thinking we're about halfway through the Bundesliga year for already for the 2020-2021 season.
Hmm.
And out of all those attacking minded players that we've named, he's gonna have the most minutes, I think, out of all of them. He's
Yeah.
there out and out nine right now. They're in a spot where they don't have a lot of money. They're not going to bring in many players in January. More than likely, players are going to leave so that they can just afford. And they're going to be in a relegation battle, and every goal is going to count. And he's going to keep having opportunities. Pulisic starts, it seems to be every other game. He maybe plays 2 out of 3. Reina does not start every game right now over at Dortmund. And just McKinney being in the midfield, I think the goal, we know where the goals come from at Juventus, and they're not going to be coming from him. So why not Hoppe in 2021 if he continues to be with Schalke? Now, if Schalke gets relegated, that's a whole totally different story. And my prediction is stupid, because if they get relegated, obviously half of this year he won't be playing in the top in a top league.
Yeah.
But that would be my prediction for goal scorers and assists. I got to agree with you on Reina. It seems like if him and if he starts with Holland, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know,
Howland puts everything in the back of the net. So
exactly. He's just outside of Robert Lewandowski at the moment, probably just the most lethal striker in the world.
mhm,
If he sees goals, he's shooting it and it's gonna go in, which is
agreed.
insane to see it. He's 20 years old. I mean, they're we're seeing strikers get better at a younger age as we move on, and it's awesome. So for the United States men's national team, scoring for the team, where are you thinking with all of the good games that we have and all these different kind of camps that we're going to have, who's going to score the most goals in the red, white, and blue jersey?
Yeah. I want to go with a surprise pick. I think who's going to be starting at striker for this national team. Obviously, with COVID and all, it's not going to be easy. We're not going to have the same squad every single time playing for the national team. You, for example, how this roster is all MLS guys, pretty much. But I want to say for me, I want to go with Josh Sargent. I think Sargent right now is the number one striker for the national team. I know you got Altidore, you got Tim Weah. I still think Sargent's that number one. Obviously, his club situation is not ideal right now,
Hmm.
and would love for him to go play at a different club. But I still think there's so much upside with Josh Sargent when it comes to physicality and his speed, and he's still a great finisher. And if you can have Sargent playing up there with the likes of Gio and Pulisic and all, feeding him the ball, I think it's just going to help Sargent a lot.
I got you there. I'm gonna go with this might surprise you a little bit, but I'm just thinking strategically with how COVID has been and where the games are going to be played and how they're going to be able to make these rosters.
Mm-hmm.
I think Altidore.
Yeah,
I think Altidore is probably going to have a couple games against teams of lesser impact and probably bag 3 or 4 at least once.
I can see that.
We've seen it
Definitely.
happen before. Altidore has hat tricks for the United States men's national team that against
Yeah.
like Bermuda and this and
Like,
that.
Yeah.
And with how it's going to be with the CONCACAF Nations League finishing off, we're in the semifinals of that. How the World Cup qualifiers might end up being, depending on if we get our shit together, and just this the cycle that we're going to see play out, unless we have for some reason games in Europe. He's probably our main striker, just more than likely, at least for the first half of the year. So I think he ends up being the top goal scorer for
Hmm.
red, white, and blue. And with that being said, I think we end up leading to assists. Where are you going on the midfield? Who's going to be our main midfielder if we're staying strong MLS? Is Jordan Morris
It's
going to bag a bunch of assists to Altidore?
I think Morris is the guy because he's going to be starting out on the wing, and he does it for Seattle too. He bags a bunch of assists for Seattle Saunders, and I think he's going to do the same thing for the national team when he's playing out there on the wing.
Yeah, I'll have no complaints if that's what happened. Hopefully, he doesn't get a Europe transfer though, and ends up not being able to play on these squads then.
Yeah,
So it depends on which side of that you're on. I think he'd do really well in Europe though, and I would love to see him play in a top five league over there. So to kind of just we're gonna take this into the match days for the weekend. There's a lot of games going on, a lot of possible matchups between United States men's national team players, which is the best thing to look forward to when you've got big clubs playing each other. So I'm going to start it off though with the Newcastle Sheffield game. Yedlin's been playing day in and day out. It seems like the last 3 weeks.
yeah.
And Sheffield is sitting at the bottom of the table. They have two ties in like 19 games, and that's all their points, two. So this looks to be another game for him. Sheffield should win this pretty, I don't want to say handedly because anything can happen when they're professional footballers.
Yeah,
But this seems like a clean sheet 1 or 2-0 win for Newcastle. What do you think?
Newcastle. Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. Expect Yedlin to get the start, and also Wolves versus Everton. Do we see Atsuwai play tomorrow?
So he played 4 minutes in the game over the weekend. So I
Mm-hmm.
think this is a spot for him to start. And I don't want to say it'd be a very pressure filled start for him, but Everton's a big club. They're really good. They've played very well this year. Their form is a little bit gone from what they started the year on, winning the first five.
Mm-hmm.
But that they're no slouches. They've got a lot of good players out there, and I think this would be a really good matchup for him in that against that Everton midfielder with the likes of like James Rodriguez, Richarlison, like bunch of big names that he could be playing against. And I think it looks to be a good matchup for him. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. I would love to see him get out there and have another chance. Obviously, he played an excellent half against Chelsea, which was kind of his breakout game
Hmm.
this year in the Premier League, and he's been continuing to get first team minutes, and would love to see him get another start.
Yeah, I agree. We got two more midweek games. London Derby, Spurs, Fulham. Robinson plays this obviously. He got a good rest over the weekend where they won their FA Cup match. Tim Ream got a big start and helped them get that win. Robinson's going to play. He's going to have a hard matchup against whoever Spurs puts out on the wing, whether it's Son, whether it's Bale, whether it's Lucas Moura, whoever's out
Yeah,
there. It's going to be tough for him. But I'm
definitely.
excited to watch it. That's Wednesday at 3:15. How do you think he'll fare?
I think he's going to do great. He played wonderful against Liverpool. Pretty much locked down Mo Salah by himself. I know you see that meme with him taking out his pocket, and you see the keys and the wallet and everything.
Stolen wallet keys.
Robinson has been excellent. Yeah, he's been excellent this year. I think he's the biggest surprise, honestly, out of all guys for the national team. Because
Mm,
when we saw the Fulham transfer coming, we're like, okay, well he might play here and there. I don't think we expected him to be doing this well to where he's one of the better top five left backs in the Premier League this season right
hmm.
now, and his stock is only going to rise the better. And this is another game to where his if he plays excellent, his stock is going to rise even more.
Exactly, exactly. And if I'm just hoping that they stay up though, and he can continue growing at Fulham. I think that's a perfect club for him to grow.
Yeah.
But if they go down, he's obviously going to end up somewhere else.
Hmm.
We've also got City Brighton. Look for Zach Steffen to start again to keep it going. He's got a couple clean sheets in the last few matches. He probably should have had a clean sheet against Chelsea in their 3-1 win, where Hudson-Odoi scored pretty late. He's finally getting the playing time that he deserves due to Ederson's COVID, correct?
Yeah, that's
So,
correct.
COVID blessing, I guess, for Zach Steffen. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But we knew what kind of talent he had. It's just about him finally getting his game time, and this game time is really important because it shows Berhalter something that he hasn't been able to see with all the games that he hasn't been able to play, and without us having a lot of camps and this and that. We knew what we had there, and he's proving it, and I love it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's
but
for
go ahead.
midweek game. What about for weekend?
Yeah, so for weekend Bundesliga, I think is the big spot besides a couple matches outside.
Hmm.
Saturday at 9:30, we've got Wolfsburg Leipzig, and Brooks and Adams should both be starting this game, and it's a big game for the top six in the Bundesliga. Both teams are fighting to either get a Europa League or maybe even a Champions League spot. Leipzig's been there a couple years in a row, obviously semifinalists last year. But Wolfsburg they're right on their toes, man. And if they can find the back of the net, Wolfsburg is a team that should be going to Europe. So I think this is going to be a huge match. Who do you think takes it?
I want to go with Wolfsburg. I just think their defense has been playing excellent all season, and like you said, all it takes is for them to get back one or two goals,
Mhm.
and that could be it, and that could be the winning solution for them because their defense has just been that good this year.
You think they find a way past Upamecano?
I think they can. I think they can.
All right. Well, we're gonna write that down. Wolfsburg beats Leipzig. We've got also all the games on Saturday are 9:30 kickoffs. We've got Bremen versus Augsburg. This looks to be a good start for Josh Sargent. Kind
Mhm.
of he needs to get back on the score sheet, get his confidence up a little bit. And Bremen, who they're very inconsistent team. And kind of we need to see some consistency out of Josh Sargent. As you say, you think he's our number one striker. He needs to start showing that, right?
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think the club is a big issue for him right now. It's not really his talent; it's more of the club he plays for, and just the quality of play is just not there. It's not there compared to other clubs where our national team guys are playing at. But then again, when he's getting these chances, he's got to put them away, regardless if he's getting one or five chances every game. I mean, if he has something, he has to do the best he can with his limited amount of chances he's getting right now.
Exactly. Kind of just to compare it, Tim Weah, he's doing what he can with his chances. He's playing far less minutes than any striker over in France for Lask, and he's putting away what he gets. Also, in the Bundesliga, we've got Dortmund is playing Mainz. I think this is a good spot for Reina. We've said it before that he was going to get an assist. This is the game. He's getting an assist this game, um, and I'm going to say it's to Holland. I'm
Yeah, I
guaranteeing
think yeah,
Mine's
this is definitely a
18th.
game where he's getting
This
an
is
assist.
yeah, exactly. So we'll take it around Europe the rest of the weekend. Another London derby, Fulham versus Chelsea. Two Americans facing off. Depending
Again,
on how stupid Frank Lampard wants to drop his lineup, Pulisic might end up on the right side going against Robinson.
yeah, it will be something to see if that happens. Obviously, wait an hour before kickoff to see what the lineup will be. We would expect Pulisic to be on the left side, but you never know with Lampard what he's going to pull out with that lineup right now. It's kind of it changes every day. It changes every game, every match. You never see the same 11. He could be playing on the left. He could be playing on the right. Just expect it to be a good match. I expect Pulisic, Chelsea being the stronger side. I think Pulisic is going to play really well against Fulham. Um, and I expect Robinson to do really well for Fulham too, and pretty much be able to hold his own against one of the top teams in Premier League.
Totally agree. Hopefully he doesn't do too well against Pulisic or Ziyech, honestly though. So that'll take us into Sunday. The big game for Sunday is probably that Inter Juve game, 2:45 on ESPN Plus. Hopefully McKinney's healthy for it. I know he's not going to play midweek, just precautionary for rest. The thing
Yeah,
that worries me is he only played 18 minutes over the weekend. They pulled him off quick.
yeah.
And I don't know if that's like just fear of like being able to injure something worse.
Hmm.
Maybe he was
So
already not feeling great going
So
into
I
it.
think the rumor was, that like the day before the match, he kind of had felt something like a little tightness in training, and to where I guess he felt it again in the early in the match.
Hmm.
And Perlo, just being the smart manager he is, he's like, I'm not gonna know. Like, yeah, I don't want this to be any more serious than what it is. So they're trying to nip it in the butt when they can, so it doesn't become something serious to where he's missing weeks, upon weeks of action.
Exactly. Good point. Also, City versus Palace. We could see Ederson back at the weekend. I'm not quite sure. If not, if Ederson is not cleared through the COVID protocol, it will be Zach Steffen once
Yeah,
again.
Stephanie's gonna start again. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
So it
great
just
just to
depends.
see him get.
Yeah,
What would that
it's
be?
just gonna come
Fifth start?
down. Yeah, it would be his fifth. Yeah, so it's just going to come down to see if Ederson is cleared from COVID, and if he is, if he's game ready and all. So potentially, even if he is cleared, he may not just be match fit ready to where Stefan might end up starting again over the weekend.
Exactly, and Palace, that looks to be another good a good showing for him. And to close it out with Schalke Frankfurt Sunday at noon. There could be two Americans playing in this game. Definitely Matthew Hoppe and possibly Timothy Chandler. He doesn't get that much playing time for Frankfurt, but I would love to see him get in there just to say that we saw two Americans play each other again in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to happen twice this weekend. We'd love to see it happen 3 times. That would be really good. But yeah, Hoppe coming off the hat trick right now. I mean, he's pretty much the guy that all the talk is right now. So it will be interesting to see how he plays against Frankfurt, which is another opponent to where we could definitely see him get chances of getting some more goals.
Yeah, I totally agree. But it's going to be a week filled of action starting tomorrow, with a bunch of games, and I'm gonna look forward to watching as many of them as possible. Not all of them. I don't have the time for that, but we'll keep everybody updated over on Twitter, and also we've got our Facebook group finally up and running. If you guys want to join on the conversations, we're gonna post a bunch of questions out for all the fans, and just kind of get the conversation going a little bit better on where the team is and what everybody thinks is going on. Also,
Exactly.
subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, everyone. But thank you so much for listening in, and we'll see you guys later.
Yep. See ya.